Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Path. My name is Brian, and today we have a very special guest on, none other than Jack Harpster himself. Uh, I guess he's like an all right World Leader player, right? Like he's like top three, maybe. I don't know, up there.
I try my best.
He tries his best. And you know what? In all seriousness, though, it's awesome to have Jack on for this very special episode. Jack is one of those World Leader enthusiasts out there. He's one of the best players, I'd say, in the country, if not the world. So tons of respect to you, Jack. You've been killing it with World Leaders, especially mostly on the team scene. But how have you been doing, bud?
I've been doing great. 40K has been fantastic. We're in team season right now. I've come back from like, I don't know, like 6 events in the last 2 months, something like that. And probably about half of those have been with world leaders.
Yeah, I know you've been like on a tear with it. Like I know when the Codex came out, you were just like, go, 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 World Leaders, World Leaders, World Leaders. And that's been really awesome to see. Like you've had, I know, a big impact on kind of the meta, list building, and a few ideas. And I'm hoping, guys, for the purpose of this video, we're going to be like picking his brain a little bit and trying to have some good World Leader banter back and forth between me and Jack and just kind of talk about how we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
So, with that, I mean, you said you've been playing in, you said how many events in the last month? 6 events in the last month?
Something like 6 events in the last 2 months.
Like
Something
two
like
months. Sorry, 2 months. Yeah, six in 1 month would be crazy, right?
that.
So
Crazy.
what have you been up to?
Well, I went to a couple of team events. I went to Bug Eater GT team event with Berserker Warband. I went to DreamHack with Khorne Daemonkin. Rip. I think I went to a singles event in there somewhere with World Eaters, but I could be wrong. I've been playing a bunch of Eldar lately to kill the Knight Menace, shoot him with fire dragons.
That'll do
No
it.
knight may live.
That'll do it.
But yeah, just doing whatever my, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder brain wants to do at this, particular point in time. That's what
And
we're
it
going with.
and it's worth saying you do have a tendency to float back to the red. I know you're a big Blood Angels World Leaders fan, but you are the jack of all trades, you could say. And I know you're a big Eldar fan as well. But let's just get right into it, guys. So the last time you saw Jack and I on a video together, we featured on Art of War, which check him out, guys. Awesome channel. Which I'm sure we'll have a couple plugs here in a little bit. But last time Jack and I were talking together, we were talking about our initial impressions of the World Leaders Codex, which, to say the least, the Codex release was a little bit filled with a little bit of drama. Some could say a little unnecessary at this point. Just a
Maybe,
little bit,
maybe
just a little bit,
just a little bit.
just a little bit. Um, and I think a lot of the impressions were that the Codex was largely a downgrade from the Index. And I know I've talked ad nauseum on this channel about my thoughts about that. But just to reiterate them again, Jack, like, how are you feeling about the Codex right now?
It's very good. Like the codex is very, very good. You can tell that it's good, partly because people are doing well with it, including yourself, including myself, including plenty of other people too. Uh, you can tell partly because of that, but also partly because the people who were insisting that it was terrible and the worst codex ever have now shifted to being like, no, I never said that. I never said it's bad. Obviously, look at the rules. Are you saying that's bad? No, I was just saying I don't like the flavor of the book.
Yeah, and
And
now they're all playing Forge Fiends.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways.
I know. I know. I was on Reddit. When the book came out, you said it was bad. I'm watching you.
And it I guess I know that when we always especially on this channel we were like it's not that bad, guys, trust me, pile and consolidate 6 is going to be disgusting, and frankly I've seen myself move faster across the board with pile and consolidate 6 than I did with advance and charge in the Index. So have has your opinions really changed at all since the release to now, or are you largely still just riding that wave still?
It's just solidified, if anything. I think it's a fantastic book. I don't think we lost any speed. I really don't. Playing with a million spawn and berserkers out of rhinos, it feels exactly as fast as it was before. And I feel like we got a lot more because the thing that was the problem in the past wasn't speed. That wasn't the issue, right? And that stayed the same. It wasn't hitting power, which also basically stayed about the same. We still kill you if you're in front of us. The things
Hmm.
that we kill easier have changed from like big monsters and vehicles to like elite infantry. Okay. But we were a mono-dimensional combat army generally. You could include some forge fiends. They weren't going to do anything, but you know, they kept your opponent honest. They picked off the odd thing. They held the odd
Yeah.
objective. Now we are a multi-dimensional army that can approach the game in a much more well-rounded way and is a lot harder for your opponent to exploit, like way harder. So I think we, in my opinion, pretty clearly got better from the index to the codex, became a more fleshed out army. Are there parts of the codex that could stand to change? Absolutely. I personally don't think a lot of the detachments that are not Berserker Warband have stood the test of time in the same way. Although I'm sure Josie's done fantastic things with Cult of Blood because, you know, that just is what that is.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying because that's a good segue into kind of the other point I was going to make, and I was mentioning this before we started filming, is that I had kind of like a weird difference to draw between like the index and codex is that our win rate isn't high. It's not. Actually, it is normally sub 50%, above 40, like we're 47, 48, 49% floating in that range. But we are winning events at a faster rate than we were in the index. And I do think what you were mentioning, those tools that you were mentioning that are now open to us, Pile and Consolidate 6, Forge Fiend Shooting now being respectable at doing a job and being a multi-phase army now. Granted, we're still not great at the other phases, but we are functional in the other phases. I have allowed, I'd say, your top level players to really exploit that at the table and take advantage of new tools available to them. Like that was what I was going to bring up to you. Do you think would you how would you explain our increase in wins, basically?
I think it is those increase in tools. I mean, the biggest tool I think that we gained is the Lone Op Demon Prince, right? That dude
Absolutely.
crazy. With -1 damage, he's very hard to kill easily. You can just put him on an objective. Your opponent has to commit way more points than him if they want to even try to kill him. They oftentimes will fail. He can be -2 damage in combat for the strat as well. He gives you CP economy. He hits like a truck. He's a real honest to goodness problem for people because you can just float him in the center and be like, I'm gonna get 15 unless you do something. And then they overreact and you're like, you're dead. You're dead now.
Uh,
In
uh,
addition, the Forge Fiends just light people up. Like they just kill people in shooting, man.
and I know people like we're gonna transition to a meta talk here in a second, but people like bash Forge Fiends for like being bad in the night meta, and I was like, actually, they're like getting like 3 or 4 saves on a night is pretty solid. Even wounding on fives, they'll still put damn. I mean, so one of the first content videos dropped of World Leader versus another army was you dropping Mortarion with 3 Forge Fiends. But
Yeah,
that was a skew, but like
point to me the guard tank or the Space Marine tank that one taps a night, man. Like they don't exist. A Forge Fiend will put like 3 saves on a night. They fail one, they fail two of them. They take 6 damage. You shoot them with another one. You know, they take 4 saves. They fail
and,
three. They take 9 damage. Now you
and
charge
now
them.
you yeah, now your berserkers comfortably kill them. So yeah, so I'd broadly say that Jack and I are in agreement that the Codex is, although it has some parts of it that are not ideal, like we're not going to ignore that, but no Codex, sans maybe Eldar, has perfect data sheets across the board, and perfect, no, I wouldn't say perfect attachments, but multiple high-level competitive attachments.
Yeah,
But
even Eldar has like poor internal balance, man. You're not
yeah,
seeing, you know, Wraith Blades anywhere.
oh sure. But as far as like codexes go, we're I'd say comfortably a well above average release. Maybe not creme de la creme as we would like to say on this channel, but very strong. And when I say release, I don't mean I mean we're a strong army. I'm saying that in terms of like detachment, like balance, internal balance, all of that, that's what I'm factoring into that. So,
The internal balance could definitely, I think, use a bit of tweaking. That just kind of is what it is. I think externally, we're good, broadly
yeah.
speaking, in the meta. I feel very confident in my ability to put world leaders on the table into a variety of matchups and do well. The
And
current meta is not the most fun for world leaders, but metas come and go, you know?
and you know what? Since we're gonna start, let's just start talking about it. And I'll go ahead and say that I don't think it's necessarily not so fun for world leaders as much as I think it's not so fun for a lot of people right now. I think a lot of armies, including world leaders, are looking at what's in front of them, the big, tall, 26 wound menace on the table right now, and are all kind of scrambling to find answers. And we are not alone in that struggle. There are plenty of other armies we can get arms and arm with and look at. So, first of all, we think the book is good. We think the book is good now. How do we think we are in the meta that we're in right now, which is the age of the summer of chaos, they said, but now we're in the night is upon us. The night is dark and full of nights.
Oh my God.
Um,
They just have too many models. Like just starting it out with that. It's not that the rules are broken. It's not that the models are too good or whatever. They just have an extra big knight than they should. And this leads to a lot of problems, especially when you try to counter them, because very few armies can drop four big knights reliably. There're just too many of them. And so that means, killing one, killing two, actually not enough, right? You need to be able to reliably get through, I'd say, not like three in one turn, but like three over two turns with pushback, right? Your opponent is attempting to kill you. You need to still be able to drop three big knights. And especially since it's a knight meta right now, a lot of Imperial Knights are running around with Atropos. Atropos have an invul in combat, and they have 28 wounds. That's not particularly fun to deal with
no.
at all. It's not fun to deal with for most people because, again, you need to be able to deal with like three of them over two turns while your opponent tries to kill you. That's probably the metric. It's a very hard number to hit, right? The toughness 12 to 11 doesn't really matter for us. We have a lot of ways to put out premium quality, quantity, strength 10 attacks. We're made of strength 10 attacks. The Prince is strength 10, 8-bound strength 10, Forge Fiends are strength 10, right?
Yep.
Everything's like strength 10 in this army, right? The heavy melee weapons in the berserkers that do a
Yep.
bunch of the work, they're strength 10. So that means if knights ever shift to armature spam, we got their
Or yeah,
number.
we're there. We're there. We got
Yeah.
them. Drop their points, please.
Dude, they're dead if they do that. If they dropped it, well, if they
I'm being
drop the points
facetious
on
here,
the
but
armatures,
that we're still in trouble. But
but it means that if because I played into the armature spam, right? When it was toughness 10, and it felt hopeless for them. It felt hopeless. They had no like real way to deal with Khorne and berserkers. They could kill like one Khorne berserker every time they shot. It was horrible. And you could just get through them really quickly. Every time you activated, one of them died. And then going to toughness 9 means you're essentially +1 to wound. So that means if they ever pivot back to armatures, we'll just kill them in droves. It's crazy.
right.
Specifically the big knights, because toughness 9 to toughness 11 is a massive breakpoint for us, and it's not a good.
Yeah. And I think additionally to everything you're saying, because you're absolutely correct that there's like you used to be able to like one of the lists and teams that you'd see kind of frequently was 12 littles plus what the cheapest the Gallant is the melee
One.
Imperial Knight. Yeah, that list just got completely strictly upgraded to 12 littles plus Canis is 2000 on the head, which I would say that is markedly better than the other variant. But it
Yeah.
doesn't really feel like even in a team's context like it's still a stat check. Like we had no problem taking an armature and bashing it into the dirt. Um, Now we just do that more reliably. There's a smaller chance you get scammed at that armature living because you're functionally +1 to wound now. Right? You're still going to bash armatures into the ground, but you're probably still doing it at the same rate you were before because they're going to be drip feeding them to you. Now you just have something that can actually shoot you hiding behind the 12 armatures that will kill more than one berserker. So
Yeah.
in addition to the points drops, I also feel it's the same kind of like not complaint, but thing I noticed with Death Guard, which is that Death Guard broadly had like solid their rules, their datasheet rules were lacking. But their army rules and their strats were pretty good. And we saw everything stay pretty good, and then their datasheets become really good, and then they became a little bit of a problem. That's back when GW balanced them by giving them access to +1 AP. I see that being a little bit of the same story for like something like Chaos Knights, where their detachment was kind of garbage in the index, right? They had the 1 CP go send two dogs through a wall, and that was pretty much it. And they had like some other cute stuff that would pop up occasionally. But now, I mean, they were okay data sheets. Now we take that detachment and we just elevate it to Lords of Dread, where we go from one useful strat to four banger enhancements, points drops, and some of the best strats in the game. Um,
and enhancements that are really, really good. Need
And
to
if
say.
they feel like not losing to a World Leader player, they can skew for it and probably have a great time.
Yeah, if you take a Chaos Knights player, you hand them Lords of Dread, and you say you're about to play into a World Leaders player, do not lose. They're not going to lose. That just is the case. Unfortunately, a fight first Rampager and access to -1 damage in combat is lights out if they really lean into it. Now they're not incentivized to really lean into it because they also have to worry about other people. So there's a whole ecosystem going on here. But it's certainly not like great if they decide that they would like to ruin your day specifically.
And that detachment by itself killed my original list that I think you and I were going back and forth upon. It was like your double Rhino list, which I've converted to now, versus before where I was flirting with the Exalted 8-bound brick with a Slaughterbound in the air. And now I have a 300-point unit, which Lords of Dread I think is the most popular army in the game at the moment. Um, where if you walk into an event, 20% of the event is Knights right now, and if it's Chaos Knights, they're playing Lords of Dread or Infernal Lance, but more often than not, it's going to be Lords of Dread. But that
Is sick, so I get why people want to play it,
it
right?
is sick. But -1 damage means Exalted 8-bound go from already being kind of sad to dumpster trash. Like you should just find something else. So
They
I
do
guess
like
we're gonna
damage. Like
lead that back into like Jack. What are you doing right now with your world leader list in this meta to deal with the night menace that's upon us?
so realistically, right now, what I am doing to murder knights and kill them and put them in the ground is I'm playing 20 fire dragons. If I were playing in a singles event and I wanted to like be able to play into knights, you don't need to go like hardcore into playing into it, into like, I'm going to bring stuff that just only things that kill knights. But you do need to have the capability there. Like Mauler Fiends, I think, are the ready go to, take them off the rack, break glass in case of emergency. There's a big thing out in front of me. I would like to go kill it. And I think that's a great place to be. To be honest with you, it's just
Mhm.
like have a pair of Mauler Fiends or one Mauler Fiend in there. They're a little hard to hide, but they do walk through walls and have way, way too many attacks. And you can tank shock to give themselves +1 to hit, and you can +1 AP, and they become a little more reliable there. So I think that's like the bare minimum. We're going to add that in. The Berserker Glaive Mo is also pretty solid.
Yep.
All those dudes are characters. So
Yep.
you really do want to soften them up. You want to soften them up. Forge Fiends are actually very good here because you want to shoot, drop the knight to like 17 and then charge in
Yeah,
and
because I think the math for well, I just to illustrate this point, the math for Karn, which we've crunched many times, for full max lethal buffs, you have lethal sustain +1 AP. It's a coin flip that he brings a knight down right now. He does like 55, 56 damage on average. So having that Forge Fiend push 6 damage through does wonders for the probabilities and statistic behind bringing a knight down. So yeah, Forge Fiends are still fine in this matchup, guys. Don't pull them from your list. You'll make yourself lose to EC for no reason.
yes. And I mean, I think that's the position we're in right now, is that I think we're very good into the top of the meta right now, except knights. So I think if knights do the natural thing and drop off when, GW looks around and goes, crikey, they have a 68% win rate. Um, then
Problem.
yeah, it's a problem. When they get dropped off, like the meta is not bad for us, right? Like Death Guard can be a bit of a slog, but we have the tools and the damage to get through them, right? There are a lot of toughness 9 vehicles and there are a lot of elite infantry. So they kill us, but we kill them too, very
Yep.
quickly, even.
Yep.
And then like EC, other melee armies like EC, Blood Angels, we trump a lot of that because we
Yep.
have Forge Fiends, we have -1 damage in combat, we have the Prince, who is a vile, vile piece in that matchup. So I think we're very well positioned, especially if you're willing to like play the long game a little bit, because Knights are not going to ride on top
Yep.
forever. That's
I'm
certainly
ac- I don't know if you're planning on attending Atlanta WCW, but I'm actually kind of excited for WCW because we're gonna have a data slate between now and then, and that's gonna like right into this comment is I think that we're actually a sleeper army right now. Similar to our play style of being the guy behind the corner with a baseball bat. I think that's gonna be us in the next meta of
I
and
agree.
it was crazy seeing like everybody was screaming for those immediate Death Guard nerfs, which they probably don't. Maybe they don't deserve an immediate nerf, but they deserve a hefty readjustment at the moment. And then everybody just completely forgot that because Lords of Dread is just stomping over everybody right now. So I'm excited for the next data slate, not only for potential rebalancing for us, internal rebalancing, We're fine. But a lot of our predators, which are the top like dogs right now, which is Death Guard, will give you a struggle at the table if there's a good pilot on the other end. And knights, both of those getting knocked down a peg, I think will do us wonders in the singles format. I think that's one of those like if your worst matchups get nerfed, you're net buffed, and you'll see that like 47% win rate I was talking about, maybe like creep up
I mean,
quite
I
a
also
bit.
think the 47% win rate is because there's very few armies that I think we talked about this once, but like that lie to you. There are very few armies that tell you they play in one way and then they don't. And
Mhm.
World Eaters is one of those. World Eaters is an army that says, don't worry, deploy in the line, run at them, scout, charge
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
like go, 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 go. And if you do that, you will you'll go 45% or whatever, right? Sometimes you'll win. More often than not, you'll lose 40% ish. There you go. You know, Jesus take the wheel. You find out who gets to win that game and you get to go on
Yep.
to the next one.
And
And if
sometimes it
that's what you're
works.
looking for, sure, then great, do that.
So we gotta, I mean, you can play Gore Trek and just ship rhinos across the table as fast as you want. There's a detachment for you to do that. And I think
Absolutely.
we've coined the term on the channel now. We call it passive aggressive world eaters, where you just sit in a wall, scream obscenities at your opponent, make them come to you, and make them do the hard work of walking across the table.
Yep. That gets you the good connections. It lets you kill them. Dude, there's few joys in life like staging spawn on the other side of a wall to the scariest melee units you've ever seen. They're like, yeah, sure, come on, charge me. Yeah, you'll win that fight, buddy. Come on. And there's a Forge Fiend just looking at him.
Just yeah, just then back to I guess the meta, because we did recently have a change in our own meta, right? Everybody was expecting this emergency Death Guard nerf, which honestly I kind of was hoping for, I won't lie, even though it may or may not have been warranted. But instead of the emergency Death Guard nerf FAQ, I open up my FAQ in the morning after rolling out of bed, and what do I see? World Eaters in red, Jack.
Uh,
And you know what?
no,
Two major changes. One, you and I already talked about a little bit. We don't think it really matters. The other one is a heartbreaker. So starting off with the Forge Fiend, Jack and I already said that like keep your Forge Fiends in your list. Already, we said that in the video. Keep them
they're
in your
not
list.
Overwatch pieces. They
But
can occasionally, like a
if
lot
it's
of
free,
times.
ship
Yeah,
it.
it's free. Screw it. If your opponent is putting a unit on the center and they're like, I'm going to take the center from you, sure, why not? You still reroll hits against them. Just don't take any Overwatch that doesn't get reroll hits. A lot of the time, the Overwatch is a trap anyway. But if you're playing a passive aggressive style where you're sitting back, they're sitting back, you're trading resources back and forth, then why not take the Overwatch? Go for it.
Yeah.
Live a little, you know?
And rerolls or not, like with rerolls, like into something like Wardens, right? That's really funny to do. Custody player be like,
Hmm? You want
you
to play
put
the
that,
sword
you can put that there.
now?
And then, I mean, you're still gonna get rerolls pretty frequently in Overwatch. Like this isn't killing it. This isn't killing the Overwatch. You're, if anything, you're giving your opponent an opportunity to make another mistake, which
Whip
is
out a
just getting in their
second
head.
unit to deny your Overwatch.
Exactly. Whip two units
No.
out.
Oh my God, what are you doing? No, I want to
Exactly.
turn off my Overwatch.
And make sure you point it out to your opponent that they can indeed put a second unit in front of you to turn your Overwatch off. That is a pro gamer move.
It is.
Gaslight your opponent 101.
100%. Yeah, they need to not know what weighs up.
Anyway, but the other significant change, which we'll probably talk a little bit more about, was Jack, your favorite detachment, and the one that it was also one of them that was close to my heart, and I was actually about to take it to Nova.
Oh.
I say about to because I'm definitely not. Why am I not taking this detachment to Nova, Jack?
Khorne Daemonkin, well, they nerfed the crap out of Summon by Slaughter. So Summon by Slaughter used to have no rules, and now it has one rule, and that is too many rules. So now when you show up with the Bloodletters, you have to be 6 inches away from all enemies. That is infinitely worse. It's essentially rapid ingress with extra steps.
With the
Sure,
loophole. Yeah.
you can drop in and go for a 5 inch charge after you shoot something to death. You can. It is now way worse. And that was not what the detachment needed when I was already very, very sadly coming to the conclusion that I think Warband is better. And the reason why Warband is better to me is that Khorne Daemonkin has two things that I really care about, which is Scarbrand and Summoned by Slaughter. And everything else in the detachment is like fine. You don't really
Yeah.
interface with a lot of those rules. A lot of the strats, you're like, well, I'm not here for that strat. And like the detachment, you're like, oh, I don't really use it that much. And you're like, well, why am I taking this stupid detachment? Because of Scarbrand, who is very good in Knight's meta, just to be clear. Like,
Yeah,
he will
actually, for a
burn that.
second there, Khorne Daemonkin, I was like, "Ooh, maybe this is the answer." Like,
And some of my slaughter. The the big cavalry unit is actually very good. I like it quite a bit, especially since it got FAQ'd to just keep blessings of the blood god. But it really is Scarbrand, and it really is summoned by slaughter. And if you take one of those away from me, I'm just going to go do Warband.
And
Warband, you get so many rules. Actually, it's crazy. You use the
yeah,
detach rule, you use the enhancements, you use the stratagems, you use all of it. And in Demonkin, you kind of don't. It's
and I
sad.
was actually starting to mess around towards the end. I was actually messing around with Icon of War because I actually liked powering up bloodletters to be able to skirmish in the middle of the board. Take a little slaughterbound, stick them in the middle, take some bloodletters, throw them down, give them 30 attacks because Scarbrand's nearby, lethal sustain just randomly on turn two.
Yeah,
That was good, but it's kind of my opinion right now that the World Eater detachments that will stick out over the others are the ones that can play the primary game well. Because we do have to play that a passive aggressive play style and get your opponent to come to you. And Summon by Slaughter was one of those tools that we had to still play primary pretty well because it was in effect sticky on death with upsides. Granted, you wouldn't sticky, but you could do really weird plays where you were going to guarantee you hold an objective by stringing bloodletters out in weird directions. And those tools have been removed. Granted, does that mean the detachment's dead and unplayable? No. Is it a rival for the best attachment? Probably not. It
not anymore. No.
would be my answer for that.
Dude, if you could
And
get Scarbrand and Warband, you certainly would. You
you
certainly would.
certainly would.
Right.
I would right now. Let me tell you, Jack, right now, I would be playing Starbrand and Warband. Which so not to poo-poo on the detachment, but definitely the cooks need to go back in the kitchen and maybe GW needs to make the blood tithe points guaranteed and do some other things to help that detachment out.
Yeah, there's a little too much of the blood tithe points. You just roll ones and twos. I play games where you just like, all right, I got my first blood tithe thing on turn three. Like, cool, thank
Mm,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then there's also a bit too much of you need to have both world leaders and demons both next to each other, and it needs to be a Tuesday, and then your buffs pop. Like the twin linked lance strat, I actually used so much less often than I thought I would, just because first you have to get lance up for the demons, and then you have to pop it, and then it's just like there's enough hoops to
Yeah.
jump through that
And now
like
your
by the
bloodletters
time
are way back there from earlier because they had to be 6 inches away, so you're not even next to your demons.
rough.
Enough of that pain and sadness.
Yeah.
But overall, FAQ was a weird one, but didn't really shake up too much. Just clarified and randomly, Khorne Daemonkin got hit by a stray, and GW is going to wonder why 95% of World Leader players are playing Berserker Warband at the moment, and then Josie
Yeah.
off in the corner.
Yeah.
So,
Warband still bangs, and I think that's just what you do. It gives you a ton of tools. It lets you move very fast. Also, something I didn't mention earlier actually was that because you move about as fast as you used to before, in my opinion, you don't need to pick advance and charge off the chart by definition.
yep,
You can't. But that means you get a second result off the chart that you were not going to get before, right? Before it was advance and charge and X, and a lot of the time X was
feel
sustained
no
hit.
pain
Well,
or feel.
sorry, no, it
There
was
you go.
feel no
You
pain.
got zero buffs basically. You
Yeah,
had what was written on the 10.
yep. So you had advance and charge and feel no pain basically all the time. Now you just write sustained lethal or sustained dev into a lot of your profiles, and that's a huge damage increase.
And I guess this is gonna lead into the next because we've been talking about Berserker Warband a lot, and a lot of times when you see channels talking about world leaders, it's going to be in the context of Berserker Warband. And I know we get a lot of flack for that because it's a Berserker Warband this, Berserker Warband that. And really, the Knight meta, I feel like kind of doubles down on that feeling a bit because it's really important for Berserkers to be wounding Knights on fives. It's really important to be wounding those Armigers on threes.
Yep.
And the other detachments just don't really enable that. I mean, Slaughter Band, actually, as funny as it is pretty decent into the Knight meta. Um,
Yeah, weirdly enough, yeah, actually.
it is
It might
pretty
move up the tier list a couple rankings just because it does bop knights out of existence.
crit 5, 8 bound with +1 damage is pretty good. Pretty good into Knights that are -1 damage. But that please don't play that garbage detachment. You'll lose to everything else. But
Yeah.
that being said, I know, I mean, we're not close to a data slate. It's probably like a month and a half, 2 months out. We've only been playing with our Codex for what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks now. Um, are there any changes like burning, like off the top of your head that you like? What would you not be surprised if you saw in the slate if it were to happen tomorrow?
Well,
Like we can
speculating on a
we
slate.
we can start points. You want to start points?
Okay, so if I'm wish listing, right?
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what they're gonna do, what Big G Dubs is gonna see fit to
And
do.
trust me, yeah, he
Uh,
does not know what they're going to do.
not on this one. Um, if I'm wish listing, I think we were talking about this before, but I think the 2,000 points feels good,
Yep.
right? What's in an army feels like enough. It feels like if you play your cards right, your opponent will feel like it's too much stuff. I promise you.
Hmm.
That feels fine, but I think some of the points are a little wonky. I think some of them are a little over or under where they need to be. I think the big standout is a forge fiend. It should not be 150. Uh, what is that? 170 at least. And in return, I would like some points drops on my 8 bound boys who do not deserve to be 50 points a model.
No,
That's
not at all.
crazy.
I mean, you
That's crazy to
you
me.
play the other red army. How do you feel about 110 point sanguinary guard? I mean, that is probably the most common parallel.
Oh yeah. Okay. I damn, it is kind of crazy that Sanguinary Guard are 110. I don't
Yeah.
think either of the models should be, 110 for three,
No,
but
I think both of those numbers are at the extreme. I
yeah,
think
I
a
think
nice.
125 would be pretty reasonable, 130, something like that. That's a pretty steep points cut, but like, man, those units are 50 points a model. Like, come on.
And a heavy blight drone pops around the corner. I was like, "Hello, buenos dias," and you're just gone. Um, yeah. Forge. I do broadly agree. Forge Fiend could probably go up a little bit. These things are crazy. 8 bound, overcosted. Exalted 8 bound. Now that's a lot to unpack in itself. I wouldn't even play them at a cheap cost unless they were cheap enough to consider in sixes, which is probably too cheap,
They're
if we're
quite
being
poor,
honest. So
unfortunately. They're just
uh,
they're just like a bad data sheet.
that's just
They tell you they kill vehicles and they do not.
the proper place for the Exalted 8 bound is to be cheaper than an 8 bound. And I don't think Games Workshop is capable of doing that to the poor Exalted in the name. You can't do that to the Exalted dude. So hopefully there's a rewrite or something for them. I would really like something for that, but that's some pretty extreme wish listing. I think we'll probably see an initial point drop on them. I think Karn's also a little too cheap, if I'm being
No,
honest.
no, leave my boy. Leave my boy alone.
I'm sorry. But I would play him to 120, but I don't care.
He is one of the
Uh,
best characters in the game. I mean, just today we recorded a tier list about the top 10 characters in the game, non-monster vehicle, etc. And I think we put Karn as third. He is absurd.
I
He's like
just he's
incredible,
so
man.
nuts. It's just the amount of stuff he just kills by. Sometimes he walks up to a big knight and just rolls a little too many fives and does 21 damage by himself, and your opponent's like, "Oh, and there's
Well, he
10
hits on
more."
twos re-rolling with sustained lethal. So it's not crazy if you go 9 attacks, 9 hits, 3 lethals. You roll one too many fours or one too many fives, and you're like, well, 7 AP3 damage, 3, please, on Monsieur Canis.
Oh, you didn't roll a six. Ooh, sucks for you, Sir Hector. Come out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm obviously a lot of the world leader strength is you actually have to get into melee. You have to make contact to get value out of them. But one of the cool things that I started, I'm gonna gripe about Khorne Daemonkin again. I started playing Karn solo. I know as an Eldar player, you definitely appreciate Fuegan solo from Index Time. And
Yes.
I was just like, screw it, Karn solo. Let's try it for a couple games. It felt fantastic, and it still probably actually isn't that bad of a play, specifically because he would die and spawn bloodletters. But what do you do about him? What are you gonna do? Shoot a las can at him? What are you gonna do? Charge him? He's just gonna get back up and kill you. Like, I mean, waste pot shots on him. It's like weirdly, he was actually weirdly efficient as a solo piece, just being like this annoying little poo up stand. I love Karn. I love him so much.
Yeah. I mean, also in the context of what Berserker Warband does bring to the table, right? Him in a unit of Berserkers is just kind of an existential threat to an objective. They can go suicide themselves, killing everything on an objective. They go on the objective. Karn is in the center. The unit blooms out around him, right?
Mm.
If they walk up to shoot you, you get into combat with them. Okay, so they can't do that. Okay, so they stay outside 9 inches of you, so you can't blood surge into them, and then they shoot you, and then you sticky the objective. Karn stands back up. Well, they can't do that either, right? Because you just scored their
Yeah,
expansion objective. That's a
there's
game.
just no right answer. They just have to charge him, headbutt him, accept the fight on death's gonna happen. Die, Karn gets back up and finishes the job, right? And that's
Yeah,
after you've already killed him. Okay, we're going down the Karn rabbit hole right now. Karn is fantastic. Please actually no, take that back. Leave him alone. Don't nerf Karn. He's fine. He's
Karn
probably underpowered.
probably stand to go to like 100 or more. But that's hey, if they do that,
Yeah.
maybe they can take the prince down. Maybe they
And
can take. Berserkers down, right? 180.
I'm rooting against. I don't like to say this, but I'm kind of rooting against the French team for WTC. That 100 or 80 man Berserker list cannot be allowed to succeed for the health and safety of all World Leader players trying to play 20 mans out there.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think that's gonna get very far in the singles meta, to be honest with you.
no, obviously joking here, but Berserkers are could probably stand to come down a little bit. Like I said, I'd actually like to see them offset the Karn, um,
Yeah,
increase if there is one.
like
Like
100
like
for Khorne,
like
160 for the 10 Zerkers. Now we're cooking.
yeah, like Jack and I said, we're not really looking for our 2,000 point list to change. I'm looking for the other detachments, Slaughter Band to get 200 points added to it, right? Like I want Slaughter Band to drop in points. I want Gortrak to really get some love for wanting to play more than two squads of Berserkers, right? That's what I'm really looking for, what from my like wish list for world leaders. A reasonable wish list. I mean, I could just say drops for days, leave the Forge Fiend alone, it's fine. But that would kind of be
This
again
is
back to
a
peak
40
gaslighting.
something percent win rate army. We should
Mhm.
just get drops, man. I think
That's
that's
true. We could pull
100
the
points.
Ultramarines are a bad army, Jack. They've been consistently putting up a 46% win rate.
Oh, God. Okay. Sure.
The win rate says all. So I know we've ranted a little bit about like these are all my fixed topics, Jack. And we've talked a bit about kind of where we are in the current meta, kind of like some our own personal for funsies wish listing. Don't read into it too much, guys. That's just kind of what we would expect to see reasonably or like to have fun with seeing. But we did ask our patrons on the channel to submit a few questions for me to bounce at you, Jack, and kind of engage with you with. So
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you're ready for that, in these range, because I've noticed that we talk tons of singles content on the channel because we are primarily a singles channel, and Warhammer is played mainly at a singles level. But we still do have quite a bit of teams enthusiasts out there. So this question is for you. It says, in teams, what is our general job? Like, what job would you see world leaders doing in teams? And it's additionally, there's a part two to this question is, what matchups do you look for to help do that job, and what matchups would you avoid to make sure you're doing your job?
Okay, so the job of world leaders, as far as I can see, like what they do best is they find a good matchup and they don't accept that they're getting a 14 out of it. It's like I'm getting an 18 or a 20, and you're not. I wasn't actually asking your permission on this.
Yeah,
They, yeah,
you point at that one player over there, and you're like, you with your eyes squinted, while your captain slowly traps them into you. That is what you want.
you hurl the scorpion chain through their chest, bring them over, cut their head off, and display it to their team as a trophy.
And
And that's their role, basically.
and I guess since we're talking meta right now, earlier in the video, we might as well talk like my personal take on that in teams too is challenger cards. They're annoying. They're really annoying for the game.
Yes.
And the longer the game goes, the more points your opponent's going to score on challenger cards. Because if you're playing passive aggressively like you would in singles, you're going to play a 5 turn game. Your opponent's going to draw 3 challenger cards because you're going to be up on primary because you're doing the world eater thing in the middle of the table. Your opponent scores 9 more points. That's like 2 to 3 points differential in teams. I like world eaters in teams because you can point at that one person on the other side of the table. And I'm like, I'm going to kill you on turn 2, and you're getting 0 challenger cards from it, which is kind of what that's what I want to be doing in my team.
Yes, for sure. And that's the way to avoid getting scammed on challenger cards. I mean, I could complain about challenger cards all day. I did that actually. I go should come out sometime soon. I don't know where I literally just go through exactly why I hate challenger cards and then crash out over it. Basically, they suck, right? If your opponent is going second and you're playing like a back and forthy game, challenger cards are going to be there holding your opponent's hand, saying, "You don't worry, chief. You don't have to lose this game. It's fine." Uh, and that's fine. Like they're super easy to score if you have models alive. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have models alive. You can
Yeah.
draw the put a model in my deployment zone thing. Dude, the most disappointing for your opponent is to draw the destroy a unit, then look at the board and be like, I'm not doing that this turn.
Yeah, then like I said, the armies that I think that are really, really going to shine in teams right now are the ones that pick your opponent up and just put them in a trash can and kick it down the stairs. And World Leaders is the army for you if you want that role on your team filled. There's not actually many in the meta that do that right now, which gives World Leaders quite a bit of value in teams.
Yeah, so the reason that we do it so well and the thing that other armies like look for is we're very fast and we hit very hard and we have just enough staying power, right? We're not trying to be Death Guard durable, not trying to be Custodians durable. We have enough staying power to once we hit our opponent and cripple them, they can't cripple us back, and we just kill them, right? We just finish them off, they're dead, and we move on. So the speed, power, and relative staying power combination there means that we can, once we find an opening, just run them over, right?
Okay,
Just
and
kill them, move on.
part two of that again. Matchups that you're looking for. Like what not necessarily naming armies because metas come and go, right? Especially in teams. You can have really weird stuff where you have like an Eldar melee skew list, which traditionally world leaders would be good into something like Warhost. But if they're like weird Yannari melee skew that's still kind of existing, that could be kind of challenging. So
I
like
actually, I actually think weirdly enough, not name one specific army. I think Warhost, I would much rather be on the side of the Eldar on that one, just because they can move block and crucially, right, move block while shooting you and like wrap your army in.
okay, Warhost player. Okay, Warhost player. Which there's actually a question for you regarding that later on in here.
Uh,
But
but but the
again,
bigger, more important part of that is that Fugan plus 10 fire dragons will kill 10 Khorne berserkers before they get to Blood Surge,
that
right?
is true. But importantly, to the question, what matchups are you looking for?
So matchups I'm looking for are anything I can just blast right through, right? They don't put up enough resistance or trying to play a little too cagey. You can blast right through them. That generally is just like look at what units they have, what ability they have to keep you off them. If they don't have what it takes, kill them. Other things are slow armies where their durability does not stack up to your damage. So things like Custodes, for example, sorry, buddy, you're an elite infantry. I kill elite infantry. You're a very tough elite infantry. Too bad. And what that means is they to play the game, they have to walk up and say my durability is enough. And if their durability isn't enough, then 20-0, pack it up and move on.
Right.
In addition, anything where you can just glom them up, tie them up, and they can't get back to objectives means that they have to commit a lot more than they might otherwise like to. You can kill those too. Uh, things you also melee armies are very good for us.
Yeah,
Generally,
we
using melee
generally,
armies,
I think we generally beat almost every melee army in the game.
I would feel very confident on world
Unless
leaders.
it's something
Like,
really weird skewy, like some Peerless Blades fights for spam. Even then, I would say we're still fine.
yeah, -1 damage, army wide 4-up fight on death, insane speed, damage for days. We can usually get through other melee armies very, very well. And
Yeah.
that's usually the sort of thing I'm looking at. Anyone who's too slow to avoid you, but still dies. Anyone who can't put up the damage to prevent you from just running at them, that one's also very bad for them. Or a melee army where I can just beat them where they live, right? That would be great.
All right.
Things to avoid would be people who can hit you first.
And pretty
Uh,
much the opposite of everything he just said. Is
basically,
stuff that has mobility, stuff that has weird combat shenanigans that throws your tempo off. Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge. I know Sisters is generally fine, but you have to play pretty perfectly into Sisters because that like the Hollowed Martyr's like, oh, fight me. Like the any of the detachments say, oh, fight me. You got to play really careful around that kind of stuff. Like I said, the go fast, shoot fast, and then like the high volatility matchups. I don't really like fighting stuff like Knights is wishy-washy depending on like the style of Knights. Like generally, like Jack said, we're not great into Knights, so you kind of want to avoid high volatility. You can just get blown out. You leave a Knight at one, you get blown off the table, right?
yep. Especially if
Stuff,
you're not careful when you use your warlord, the game just ends on the spot.
right?
So you have to be very careful about that. I think in teams, you and their knights player look to ships in the night, right? You just pass each other. You go 20-0 their person, they go 20-0 your person, and
You have the three players figured out.
yes.
Okay.
BSC we're very good into. Actually, Hosts of Ascension are very, very good right now because they beat knights, they beat big knights specifically,
Hmm.
and are just solid generally. And if you bring a lot of anti-tank, you're useless in the Hosts of Ascension. But we move lightning fast. And if we don't kill them, we'll tie them up, right? So Spawn will tie up a 20 man forever and they'll just sit in a corner being chill. 6-inch pile and consolidate, turn one, scout, move,
Yeah.
advance, charge,
That
go.
the Karn brick putting like six berserkers into one 20 man and four plus Karn into the other 20 man and just lifting both is such a good feeling.
Oh, yeah. Also, the fact that our transports just can go like you stage up really aggressively with them. And the following turn, the units get out and go mulch something, and the transport just goes and charges and tags something.
Hmm.
Anything you don't kill, you lock down, and you can blow right through them. And life gets very tough for them.
Sure.
It's a pretty solid matchup.
So that was a long first question. But second one, kind of dear to our heart, and honestly, it's fitting that we forgot about it. We were talking about data slate changes, and we completely forgot Big Red. How do we fix Angron, Jack?
Oh boy. So yes, you can just drop points on him by a lot. That would be a sad way to fix him. He would appear on the board in sort of a zombie-like state, a shell of his former self, but so cheap you can still take him. I I don't know, man. He needs just a different pick three ability. He just needs his real hits back. I don't think it's that crazy. Like
I would
it's just a real hits aura.
I just think drop the res and give him something else relevant. It's probably enough. Like the no fallback aura is actually relevant enough to it's probably what you're picking. It's like you're alternating between the roll six and fallback aura, which are both fine. He feels like he's really missing that extra, like, how do I actually help my army do what it's trying to do? How do I help the game plan, right? Which we're not getting reroll hits back with lethal sustained dev running around.
I know, but he just needs to be reliable, right? He needs to reliably kill
Hmm.
things. And currently, I don't trust he's going to go into a night and kill it. And he has to be your warlord. So, oops. But
Oops.
yeah, if they don't have an invuln, you probably can pop plus one AP and probably kill them. But
And
probably ain't good enough. You need to definitely, he's your warlord, man. He needs to kill the things he goes into.
you want to get blown out, and like I said, I don't like those high volatility matchups and teams. If you want to get blown out real fast in the night matchup, have Angron charge a knight and leave it alive at two, and just sit there staring at them like sucking his thumb. Like it is going to go real bad for Angron
Yeah.
real
And
fast, and
if
you're
they're
just
an
down
Atropos,
400 points.
which currently people are playing Atroposes, yeah, they have a 5 up invuln. They have 28 wounds. Like he just shouldn't kill them,
No.
right? He just shouldn't. It's like
But
9 hits, 6 wounds, 4 go through. Like,
and
dude, that's not 28 damage after feel no
no,
pains.
and like I said, we're looking for Angron to do either be so cheap that that exchange is acceptable or some sort of change there. I mean, like we'll acknowledge he's one of the internal balance things gone wrong. But so this was earlier when I mentioned I like pairing into war hosted teams. So this question's kind of targeted at your response that you had to that is how does it feel to play against world leaders? See it from the other player's eyes. And this is a question like a reverse psychology one. People trying to like 3D chess, 4D chess. How should people be playing around us?
So, the number one thing, and I actually, from playing with world leaders so much, I can play into world leaders very well. You need to not have the fear if you're playing into world leaders. If you have the fear in your heart, you will lose. That just is what it is. If you're intimidated and you're worried that they're going to come and charge you and they're going to, kill you, then you've already lost because you're playing with fear. You can't do that into world leaders. You just will lose the
No,
game.
no
You'll end
fear.
up getting tabled. Like
Yeah.
actually, you'll end up overcompensating later, getting tabled, and it all goes sideways. When I play into world leaders against world leaders, I run right at them. And I'll tell you, most world leader players aren't ready for that.
And that's the number one thing that I actually tell at the end of the game, people are always like, well, what do I do? Because some people also aren't used to playing against the wait around the corner with the baseball bat plan of I'm sticking my demon prince with one up on that objective. I'm staging and I'm staring at you. I've had games where my opponent does their turn and they look at me and I go, draw, cleanse, draw, area now, pass
Back to
turn,
you.
back to you.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm winning the game. You come fix it. So sometimes you do just have to put your head down and embrace the Thunderdome in the middle.
Yep. I I will sprint at world leader players with Eldar. I It can work. It really can. I mean, when I said that you can move block world leaders, I don't mean sit back and shoot world leaders and block them forward. No, 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 no. That's not what that gets you game losses. Like that's just bad. What you do is you go, right? You sprint forward 2 wave serpents, you get out 20 fire dragons, you blast in every direction, you sprint forward your warp spiders and your swooping hawks and Jane Czar and all that. You go straight at them, and while you are shooting them from 12 inches away, you are also ringing them in models with
Yeah.
models that are about to throw
It
hawk bombs and shoot at the same time. It's
it
about
feel
buying exactly enough space that you can hit them, and then the following turn you can connect.
right. And for world leaders, I can sense like the pain from my end is having too many things that I need to be doing in one turn. Because if you trickle, and that's why I actually like the rapid ingress threat back in my original list, it's because you're forcing your opponent to keep resources in the back of the table. I was happy when my opponent, I was actually more scared when my opponent moved into the middle of the table and just let me rapid ingress back there. Because yes, I would get my choice, but now there's too many things in front of me that I have to figure out how to deal with. But if you just give me a quarter of your army at a time, I'm going to eat a quarter of your army plus some every turn,
Yep.
right? And you're pretty much guaranteeing your loss.
I mean,
So,
if you are an Eldar player and you're playing into World Eaters, the number one thing you can do on your go turn, if you're not attempting to move block them, which your hawks and spiders and whatnot, as they're shooting, should be attempting to corral their movement some amount. But if you're not attempting to do that, what you do, the best thing you can do is stop stringing your models out. Leave them clumped apart from each other, shooting at the same target. Because what that means is if you have like 5 warp spiders over here and 5 warp spiders over here and Jane Czar over here and 5 swooping hawks over here and a wave serpent with dudes in it here, they their unit goes in one direction and hits one thing.
yeah, Karn
Right?
doesn't fan out and kill three things, right?
Exactly. And if you're firing in, every one of your units will always get to activate, but their unit has to pick a direction and go in. It's also the kind of matchup where you just as much damage as physically possible every single turn. So Overwatch with those warp spiders, shoot
Yeah.
with the warp spiders, right? Like get
No,
in there, interrupt.
we're not talking just Eldar here, Jack. I
All
know
right,
I
all
know
right, all right.
we've triggered the little Eldar the inside of you, but
It's the
re
same.
re reel it back in. Let's turn back into a raging berserker here.
Yeah,
Uh,
you just got to go at the world leader player because if you accept
mhm,
the paradigm of I am the defender, I stay back, the world leader player surely will get aggressive at me. You've already lost the game.
sure. All right, next question. And we're getting it's about the halfway point of the questions. What do you feel would help the other detachments succeed? Now, we've already kind of talked about this, but like personally, I know we are the Berserker Warband book right now. It kind of feels like that. What do the other five detachments kind of, oh, actually, Cult of Blood is pretty good. I'm not gonna, Cult of Blood is, I've watched that on the table work. What do the other four detachments need?
That's a
It's a
tough.
loaded question, just like real, we don't have to walk through each detachment, but like,
Gore Track needs some amount more damage.
sure,
It just that's the problem. It has Lance if you get out of a transport, and then that's that's it, right? Like, okay,
sure.
cool. Berserkers
Uh,
don't really do that much by themselves with no buffs. So like I think they need just a little bit more damage. Maybe they
okay.
just need Lance like all the time. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know, like reroll. I was thinking like add something like reroll once to hit like out of a car, just something extra.
That'd be
Because you can still keep the transport gimmick in there, like just giving Lance all the time probably ain't it, Chief. I mean, because that's just essentially Berserker Warband, but like copying your homework, but poorly. Which I mean, situationally, Lance is better.
I agree
Uh,
that I think cheaper berserkers would help that detachment out a lot.
yeah, and I think like we said, we talked about this a little bit. Like we don't have to like tear apart all the attachments, but like broadly, like Slaughter Band just needs points,
It
right?
needs points.
That attachment's so bad because playing 6-man 8-pound bricks sucks. It just sucks. Blood surge on 8-pound just doesn't mean anything, right? When
Yeah,
they're
you pay
so
like
expensive and they die.
300 points. You lose 4 models in a shooting activation, and the survivors get to lurch into combat. Like, okay, sure.
Yeah,
They need to
sure.
be cheaper, and they need something else with their detachment rule, man. They need like, I don't know, something. They need something.
I was thinking that they expanded from just 8-pound to like Spawn and Demon Princess. Anything with like with warp influence other than just like immortal.
That'd be
Like
interesting.
like Spawn. Think how disgusting Spawn blood searching would be.
Yeah, your opponent have to mind their P's and Q's, but for real though.
Yeah, I think something like vessels is in a really weird spot. I actually have a lot of respect for vessels right now. I want to try the 20-man Berserker Brick, but that does not do well in a meta of Magnus and the 10 Plague Marine Bomb. Probably just a little bit of points there too. 360 points for a 20-man. I think if you're gonna play a 20-man anywhere, that'd be my favorite attachment to do it in.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think weirdly enough, I think the 20 man is like horrible into the mirror. That's one of the reasons I
Oh
want
yeah, Karn
it.
plus 10 will one tap it.
Yes, every time. It's so bad. So you have like 10 mans trading into 20 mans. That's not ideal, right?
Right.
You have Forge Fiends. So that's part of the reason. I never want to find myself in a mirror where I'm sad to be in the mirror, right? I always want to be happy to be in
Yeah.
the mirror.
Right.
But
Um,
that detachment, I don't know. Hold the
that's
blood. Hold the blood's interesting. It's cool. I think Khorne Daemonkin needs.
just make the blood tithe guaranteed, and I actually think it gets significantly better.
I think it also needs to have some of the interconnectiveness a little bit less reliant, right? Some of the strats should just work on everything. Some of the strats should not require you to have a specific unit within 6.
Hmm.
Easing up on some of that quality of life stuff, I think, would be very helpful.
All right. So broadly, we think points and just a little bit of tweaking with some of the detachment rules. Like the floor, like they're actually just fine detachments. We just have the holy grail right now of Berserker Warband. It is and I would say it was the lag of the Blood Angels Codex. That's the equivalent for us, but Angelicos is also banger too. So next question, one word, Hellbrute question mark.
I don't personally like the Hellbrute very much. I think the role that it's very good in is as a counter melee threat in the center of your army where it can heroic in, go -1 damage, and just scoop way too much stuff. I think it's not bad in that role. I haven't really found a place for it in my list because that's not really a role I'm looking for, to be quite honest with you. It's not really something you need. If you're in a melee matchup, you should shellac them regardless. But it's not bad at that role. It's quite good. As far as like going forward and proactively doing things, I'm a lot more skeeved out on that idea. Going
And,
around walls, only moving 9, like
and
I
it's
don't
taking
know.
for me, it takes up valuable real estate on the table, right? Where it wants to be is where your rhinos want to be, or now your Forge Fiends, or now your Mauler Fiends, right? There's a lot of stuff that we're saying that you should be putting in your list and adding a Hellbird on top of that, and it only moves 8. I mean, 8, 10, 8.
9. I think it was 9, but
Some, more than that, I think. More than 8, but not 12. Not Mauler Fiend
oh,
12.
not a Mauler Fiend. Also, here's the thing: it can kill a knight if it swings, gets hit, swings again, kills the knight.
You got
But
a
that's
caveat
never
there.
going to
There's
happen.
an asterisk there. That Atropos is going to pick the Hellbrute up by the leg and swing it to the next table.
Yeah, so I definitely think now is not the meta to take it because if you go into a knight, the knight will not let you swing twice. It just won't.
No.
Canis will backhand that boy across the board every
And,
single
and a lot of the stuff, like people say that the Hellbrute can ping pong, pick up 10 things, right? First, you have to live what you're ping ponging into. A. B, your opponent has to consent to getting Hellbruted because that thing is not fast enough for them to not pull a tape measure out and pre-measure. Right? They're going to pre-measure where it can go, and they're going to tell you what it can hit, and they're going to tell you that it cannot ping pong, in my experience. And if your opponent is letting you ping pong with Hellbrutes, you probably could have beat them without the Hellbrute, is
time.
usually what I've been looking at.
I think, as I said, I think the counter melee, it's in the center of your army. It heroics, it goes -1 damage, and it murders whatever just charged you. Fantastic.
Sure.
Not a role I particularly need. Not a points cost I'm particularly stoked about putting in. And as you pointed out, it takes a valuable real estate. So I personally haven't found it in many of my lists. If you put one in, I'm not going to disrespect you on it. It's very good in the mirror. To be honest.
A lot of times when you're list building, like I found myself with Demonkin too, like 120 points, whatever it is, comes up a lot. Like you're at like, shoot, I'm at 1870 or 1880. Sure, sliding one brute in, it's fine. It's like, it's
No,
not bad.
yeah,
But
it works.
for me, it doesn't scream like I solve a problem that the army desperately needs solved.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree with that. Especially as a counter melee unit, the Demon Prince is like so much better. -2 damage in melee and just flipping people. I don't
It,
know, man.
how hard is World Leader to play? World Leaders to play if you had to like put them ballpark, like rank them top 5, top 3 other army against other armies. And also they made sure to tack onto this, Jack, why did you cheat on us with Eldar?
Zelda's fun as hell, man.
And
So are World Eaters. But answering the first question first, I would say they're quite hard to play, actually. At like a good level, they're quite hard to play. And you see that. Most World Eater players try and play the army the way the army says it should be played, and it should not be played like that. It is like a good, very good board control army that the moment your opponent is like a little too close, they die. And knowing how to manipulate the board state, the points, get your opponent to come forward, and knowing how to execute when you do have to go is actually quite difficult. And I've seen so many people with false confidence into world leaders because they play their local and go, surely that is how world leaders play. It's world leaders. And then they go, huh, well, I kind of can't do I come
and
forward? You'll kill me. But if I stay back, I lose.
thanks for the 15 on primary, nerd.
Exactly.
Just
And so I think they're one of the harder ones to play. I don't think they're like top 5 difficulty to play, but I mean, they could be, honestly. You got to play good Warhammer and you have to basically like resist the nails biting, at least until it's time to give in. Then it's time to kill them.
yes. And then I guess the cheating on us with Eldar part. I mean,
Yeah.
Jack just hates big, tall, and stompy robots like we all do right now. And
Eldar is it's just a very fun army to play. I like jumping between armies because I There's no real other way to put it. I got
Yeah,
ADD.
yeah.
I like to jump between armies.
All of you have an army in your back pocket. Just leave Jack alone.
Yeah, so I'll be back to World Leaders for sure. That's not
Oh,
really a question. Eldar is a hell of a lot of fun right now. It's might be the best army in the game, in my opinion. Like, actually, might be the best army in the game. Even Knights, like it just kills Knights straight up. 20 fire dragons, 2 wave serpents, Knights gone. Bye
how
bye.
many nerfs does your army need? Maybe we'll get there. It's like every time they nerf one, every time they go to nerf Eldar, they like hit one data sheet, and then the Eldar player just like flips the next page and pulls the next data sheet out. Just oh, what
Yeah.
about this Phoenix Lord? Okay, so I guess everything you just said right there leads pretty well into the next one, excluding the Eldar stuff. This is the last question for you, Jack. What is the most important skill for a World Eater player to master?
Uh, Probably tempo, like knowing what speed the game is getting played at, right? Knowing what speed you need to lose models at, knowing what speed you need to be pushing the game at is probably your most important skill. And that's kind of hard to prescriptively like say you do XYZ and win game. Knowing when you need to fight your way out of a corner, knowing when you can set up a lock on your opponent where they can't really get back into the game, and knowing when to go, those are all very important things. It's like game sense, basically.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I would say was incredibly related to that is just patience, right? Just chilling, just chill out, just fight the nails. That doesn't mean don't go, but that means don't go turn one. That never worked in Index, probably doesn't work in Codex much better. So just
Yeah.
chill out,
And if
chill.
you do chill out properly, what happens is you get a chance to go later. It's not like it's not going to happen. But when you go, your opponent will have come towards you
Yeah, they did the hard part for you.
and you get like the dream connections and you get to just table them as opposed to trying to reach out and get it. So you still get to satisfy your sick bloodlust, but you get to do much better with it actually and do be able to do it from a position of strength.
Yeah, I would completely agree. So, well, Jack, it was a pleasure having you on. And if we're talking about most important skills for a World Eater player to pick up, or granted, you said to play World Eaters well, they just need to play good Warhammer. And do you know what they would do to do that? Do you know?
Well, you see, they would go over to the warroom.vhx.tv or they would go over to YouTube, the channel The Art of War 40K, and you can check us out. We have games every week. We have 3 every week, 1 on YouTube, 2 in the War Room. You can watch those. We have all kinds of theory videos or videos on your faction or videos on matchups, etc. There's Know Thy Enemy series where Siegs goes over all kinds of opposing armies and what you need to know about them. I have a theory video that I do once a week where I talk about things that don't change like meta to meta as much.
Mm.
And I just going up this week is going to be a video where I crash out over challenger cards for like 45 minutes
And,
and explain in detail why they're cancerous and horrible and should be put for, not matched play only.
and you know what? I actually have that is probably my most favorite content from you guys. Is the 45-minute rants and it is the moderate shit posting tier lists. I really love that stuff. So guys, honestly, go check them out. They legitimately are some of the best Warhammer players in the world. Jack is one of the best Warhammer players in the world. That's undisputed. He is probably one of the best World Eater players in the world as well. So, if you want to get more exposure to our channel, like we have our own Patreon too, please like, subscribe. If you have anything else, like opinion you didn't like, things you really did like, feel free to let us know in the comments. I mean, these are opinions, guys. That's all we are, is we're talking heads. But it was a pleasure having you on, Jack. Good to kind of pay it forward and get you back on the channel for us. With that though, guys, I'll just leave it there. You have anything else, Jack?
No, that's it. Thank you for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate having you on the channel. A bit back, we did all the tier lists and stuff. You can catch those on YouTube. And I'm happy to be on your show this time.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, with that, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.